Good morning, and how are you all? It's Friday the 3rd of September. I mean, for goodness sake, how did we get to September already? Honestly, I really don't know. This year is going so fast and so totally over the top. But I hope you're all well and you have enjoyed your summer. Looks like summer is over. It's very grey outside. And hopefully you've all got your children back to school and life is beginning, maybe, hopefully, to sort itself out. I'm glad to say I don't have any school-age children anymore, otherwise I would be in an awful pickle. My daughter goes back to uni for her second year in a minute, which is a bit scary as well, but hey, never mind. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about fear of money and 4 ways to overcome your money blocks. I am not an expert with money blocks by any manner of means. The expert on that is Catherine Morgan from the Money Circle, and she is completely and utterly spectacular with money blocks. But I'm going to talk to you through my version of how to overcome your money blocks. I had this yesterday with a client. We were going through everything, and in order for her to set up her Profit First accounts and get everything rolling out for her, she had to go through the whole of this year's accounts on her spreadsheet and make sure everything was up to date, because otherwise I couldn't work out the assessment that I needed to work out. So I sent her the spreadsheet, basic spreadsheet, this is what you need to do, etc., etc. And as per usual, when you're doing something that you know very well, but somebody else doesn't, you automatically assume that they're going to be fine doing it. She wasn't. She had some major blocks about dealing with it. She has no idea where they came from. She's got no idea why they're there, but she had some major blocks, which she worked through. And actually afterwards, she felt an awful lot better, as you usually do. But she had no idea that she had these money blocks. Isn't that fascinating? I thought it was anyhow. So, it is possible to get rid of money blocks. It really is possible. And once you do, the freedom that you feel at the other end is unbelievable. So if you think about it, businesses exist to make money, but even with that goal in mind, it doesn't mean it's a really easy ride. Money blocks are just, they're so real and so common in both personal and business finance, but learning to overcome them is an essential thing to do really early on in your business. And we're going to go through 4 ways to deal with this. Number 1 is to acknowledge the fear. As is the case with any fear or any phobia or anything that's holding you back, the first step to overcoming the fear of money is to recognize it. If you can do that, it becomes easier to identify what's actually the scary bit. Do you fear the thought of losing money? Do you fear not making enough money? Depends where you're coming from, but acknowledging that fear, whatever it might be, really helps identify that real underlying issue. And once you acknowledge the underlying issue, you can start to deal with it. Number 2 is to ask for help. Whether it's personal or business finances, there's always someone out there that knows more than you do. People who hit money blocks and develop a fear of money are those that never ask for help. There is absolutely no shame in asking for help. It's asking someone more qualified than you for help and what you can do to deal with overcoming your money blocks. Accountants, financial advisors, successful investors, entrepreneurs, they're all people that may be able to help. Salespeople and professional marketers can also provide some sort of insights into specific money problems. As I said at the beginning, Catherine Morgan at Money Circle, moneycircle.com is unbelievable, or moneypanel.com, sorry. She is absolutely amazing. She runs all sorts of courses about money blocks. And they're really simple. I'm not going to say easy. They're really simple, but they are so profound that the difference it'll make in you is unbelievable. So if you want to have a look at that, I'll put a link to her website on my in the comments later. Number 3 is asking for money. If you're not generating enough revenue, then are you actually asking for that money? You need to do your due diligence on potential partnerships, investments, loans, etc., whatever you possibly can. But if you're not actually asking for that money, then you're not going to get it. When it doesn't come in flowing in, then it's not going to work for you. In some cases, overcoming a money block simply requires an influx of capital from outside sources. It doesn't always, but sometimes it does. Number 4 is to develop new money habits. Sometimes the best way to overcome a block is to step outside of your comfort zone. We've discussed this before, and it's so true. It really is. People run into money blocks because they're fixed in their ways. That's why making adjustments and developing new money habits can help really overcome this fear of money. As I said, depending on what that fear is, whether you fear you're not going to have enough or you fear you're going to lose it all, whatever it happens to be. It's going to take work and it's going to take time, but you already know that your mindset can't be changed in an instant. The idea is to try something new and make progress. After all, small successes add up and they can alter your mindset. So what can you do? What action can you take to help overcome your money blocks? The fear of money and money blocks do not always cast a veil on whatever needs to be changed. It's possible to identify solutions and still not overcome that fear. Why is that? It's because the fear of failure can also creep in, and this is a massive one. When that happens, people refuse to take on any actions and make the required positive changes. Tackling that fear head on is always a good thing if you can do it. It's scary, but coming out the other side is so well worth it. Identify what that one action is, just that one action that you can take that might just pull that trigger to break through that money block. What you also need to think about is overcoming common money myths. Now, I have to read these ones out because otherwise I'll never get it right. There are well-founded fears in the world, but when it comes to entrepreneurs and business owners, the line between facts and myths involving money is not always clear. It's vital to learn more about the economic environment, as those without knowledge of this can also fall prey to money myths. They can end up creating entirely fictional and impossible scenarios. Think about it, entirely fictional and impossible scenarios for why they have money blocks. There's also a reason why it's difficult to see the solution when the issue doesn't have a strong foundation to stand on. Now, as I said, Catherine Morgan is the person to talk to about money blocks, but just talking to somebody about your money blocks, even if you don't even think you've got a money block, you've just got a bit of a worry. Oh, can I do this? Should I do this? What's so frightening? This is why a lot of people don't do their tax returns until the very, very last minute, because they just want to hang on. They just want to hang on because they are so scared. They're scared of the power that HMRC have. They're scared that they're going to get things wrong. Ask for help. It's what I would suggest for anything to do with business, actually. But asking for help will probably open up all sorts of new avenues as to how to deal with your money blocks. So what I'd like you to do, please, is to let me know what actions you're going to take. And I'm going to put into the comments Catherine Morgan's website and contact details. She's on Facebook under Catherine Morgan, CATHERINE, and she is spectacular. Okay, I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.